So this video is a little bit late. I ran the 5K in July. It is now January, almost February. But what happened was I waited a long time for the organization that hosted the 5K to post their pictures to Facebook, and it turned out to be a complete waste of time. They didn't even take very many pictures, and then out of the handful that they took, they only took a few of people actually running. The rest were all of people standing in front of a cutout of Africa. I'll show you one of those photos later on in my video. But bottom line, there was no pictures that I could really use for this video, and I wasted my time waiting for them. But anyways, I had planned on wearing a collar cam while running the 5K, but it was so early in the morning that I just forgot about it. And so all I have is pictures, but I do want to walk you through the pictures and just kind of narrate them. This was a big deal to me. Before I lost my leg, I was a very avid runner. I used to run around 3 miles every night. When I lost my leg, it was on a Friday. It was at 7:23 p.m. I went into surgery immediately, came out of surgery, emergency surgery. I came out around 2 in the morning, and one of the first things I said, I hadn't even been an amputee for all of 12 hours yet, and I was already asking, do you think I will ever run again? My mom looked me in the face and promised me that not only would I run again, but that when, not if, but when I ran my next 5K, she would run it with me. Well, it ended up being 3 years before I ran one, but true to her word, she was there with me, and she ran it with me. So this is the 5K, my first 5K after losing my leg, and I'm very excited to share these pictures and to share the event with you. Alright, so I know that I look wide awake here, but it is actually about 6:30 in the morning, and I was exhausted. I had tried to go to bed early, but I didn't really get much sleep because I was a little excited to be finally doing a 5K again. So, this kind of shows you can kind of see how tired I was in my eyes, but I was still very excited. But anyways, we got to the place around 7 in the morning, and the race started at 7:30. So this was the map, and only thing is where it says start was actually the finish line, and where it says finish was actually the start line. We basically ran the race backwards. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. But so we started there at the finish section on this map. We ran that little loop and then went all the way around the lake and ended back where it now says start. But that's a pretty decent run. It was beautiful. We ran through a lot of not marshy land, but like wooded area. And then there was some marshy land, but we were on sidewalk the whole way. So, it wasn't like we were running through swamp. But when we got there, it was very foggy and just beautiful, but very, very foggy. And, you can see the trees here. You could barely see them from where we were. And that is actually where we were running later on. Nobody was running yet. But anyways, so when I arrived, I decided to wear my everyday walking leg, and I figured I would put my running leg and my running shoe on when I actually got ready to run, because I just didn't really feel like, well, first of all, I didn't want to drive in my running leg, but I didn't feel like walking around in my running leg. I didn't want to put it on until I was ready to use it. So here's a picture of me putting it on, and you can see my wife is holding my regular leg. Yeah, so then here I put on my running shoe. But here's a picture of me and my wife just beforehand. I was getting pretty excited. I was ready to go. She was very happy for me. And then a picture of me and my mom. As you can see, I was 9:30. She was 9:31. So anyway, so we started the race. I chose to start in the very back because I felt like if there was going to be a problem, I wanted to be where there was as little people as possible. I kind of felt like if I was at the very front, I might trip people, because I know that the running foot is the same as if it was my foot when it comes to just being in front of me, but at the same time, somebody just doesn't see it, or I don't know, I just didn't want to trip anybody. So I elected to start in the very back, as well as, my mom then started in the back too. But we ran in the back for a little bit, and then around 30 seconds in, I said to my mom, all right, I'll see you at the finish line. And I then started really running for real. So here you can see some photos of me beginning to go into the crowd and actually start to pass people. And it looks like I'm checking out her butt there, but I was actually just trying to see how close she was to me so I could go around her. So as I said in the beginning, there was no pictures taken of people actually running by the event staff. And then, of course, my dad and my wife, who were taking pictures, pretty much all the pictures that I have in this video, they were waiting by the finish line because that was the most important part of the race. So there weren't really very many pictures of me running to show you. But the next picture is actually me about to cross the line. So I will tell you a quick thing about that. What happened was I had been, really struggling with, can I go any farther? Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm about to die. I'm so tired. I'm getting really out of breath. And I was just feeling like I couldn't go much farther. And I just kept telling myself, just 5 more feet, just 5 more feet. Just get to that tree, just get to that whatever. And I was just trying to force myself to keep going and just not thinking about how much farther I had left, just instead only thinking about just get to that spot right there. And then once I got there, just get to that spot, just little sections, little chunks at a time. And I finally just realized, look, I can't go any farther. I can't do it. And so I had told myself, when I get to that corner there where the race kind of curves, once I get to that curve, I'll stop and I'll walk. And I won't walk long, but I will just walk enough to just kind of, and then I'll start running again. So I got to that corner in the curve and I stopped and I started walking. I, put my hands up and was going and walking, and I didn't make it very far, maybe 30 seconds, when I kind of could hear cheering, and I was like, there's no way I'm at the end. Am I really at the end? And then, whoa, right there was the start. Well, it said finish, but like I told you, the route was reversed. So right there was where I had started. And I said, well, I know from the map that the finish line is not very far past the start line. So I got to be close. And right then the trail kind of curved again. And there was the end, the finish line. And I could see it. And I was like, holy crap, I'm like really, really close. And that gave me the boost of energy to start going again. And I started running, and then I got really close, and I could start to actually like see the finish line, like the actual, the words finish and everything. It wasn't just in the distance, it was like there. And then I started getting to the booths and where they were handing out water and selling t-shirts and selling this and that. And the final leg of the race, the final leg of the race was through that. And I just got to where the booth started, and I just dropped it. I went full sprint. I was putting everything I had into it. I was booking it through the little course, and just people were clapping, people were cheering, and I was really moving it. And I flew across the finish line, and then I couldn't stop because it's very hard. Anybody who's run on a running leg would know it's kind of hard to stop, and I was going so fast that forget about it. So actually one of the guys there that was like part of the race team, one of the volunteers for the event, he ended up kind of grabbing me and caught me in a bear hug in order to help me stop, because I was actually figuring I was just going to kind of dive into the grass and just kind of do a tuck and roll, because I didn't really think I was going to be able to stop. But anyway, so here I am just after finishing. The guy that actually caught me handed me that bottle of water, and I began looking around for my wife and my dad, and I knew my mom couldn't have finished yet because I had been in front of her, but I also wanted to see if they had gotten any updates from her. So anyways, there I was just sitting on the grass catching my breath. So it was at this point that I began asking about my mom, well, has anybody heard from her? I knew that she had said that she was going to be texting the whole run, so I had asked had anybody gotten any texts, and my dad had. She had sent several texts. So apparently the last they'd heard from her, she was around mile 2. And so I said, okay, well, I had really wanted to finish with her, but at the same time, I wanted to finish on my top time, so I didn't want to stand there by the finish line and wait for her. So I had gone ahead and crossed, but I did want to finish with her, and I knew she had wanted to finish with me, and just unfortunately she wasn't as fast as me. So I said, well, what can I do? What can I do? And then I said, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get her. So here you see us coming around the corner, and I was kind of pointing, if you can see, and I was just telling her it's right there around the corner. We're almost there. There's the finish line right there. Don't stop. And she was starting to get really tired. She was like, I don't know if I can go much farther. So that's why I was telling her it's right there. And I think that's what gave her a boost of not a boost of confidence, but it just gave her a second wind because she saw we were so close. So put these in some fast motion so it kind of looks like a video. But so here we go. As we got closer to the end, she grabbed my hand and held our hands up in the air like victory. And then as you see, I start to kind of go off to the side because I had already crossed the line once. I didn't want to cross it twice and possibly mess up my chip. But she ran across it on her own. She was very excited, as you can see. And there I am in the back, starting to kind of come up again. And then, yeah, I was exhausted. She looks exhausted, but I was fully gone, like beyond exhausted. I had run the full 5K. Then my mom was easily about 3/4 of a mile back. So I then ran another 3/4 of a mile to her, plus another 3/4 of a mile back to the finish line again, which is, you know, a whole extra mile and a half. So I've, at this point right here in this picture, just finished running one 5K plus then an additional mile and a half. So I was exhausted. But here we were, after having finished, very, very excited. I was very proud of myself. I was very proud of my mom. I know she was proud of herself as well. And then, yeah, obviously just catching our breath. You can see everybody looks a little exhausted. But here I was, very happy and everything. And this is that cutout I told you that you would see again later on in the video. So that is it. That is what the organization, the event staff predominantly took photos of. But anyways, so yeah, so here I am now after everything was said and done. I was just praying, I was just thanking God that, you know, thank you for just giving me the strength to do this and just for giving me the opportunity to do this, allowing me to even be able to run, period, nonetheless run in a 5K. But, and then here was me and my wife awaiting the awards ceremony. I didn't know, I knew I hadn't won any awards for actually running, but call it pompous or conceited or anything, but I didn't know if maybe they might announce an award for, you know, most inspirational or something like that. And yes, I did assume that that would have gone to me. It turns out that they did not have an award for it, but they did actually make an announcement, though I was correct. They announced that anybody that might have noticed there was an amputee running in the 5K, and that it was number 930, John Maynard, and that this was my first 5K since I lost my leg, and that I did exceptionally well, in fact, completing in under a 10-minute mile per mile pace. I was pretty excited to hear that. But yeah, that's it. The next picture is right here, and these are just my times. And as you see, it says, you know, John Maynard, number 930, age 23. And I was 195th overall, and there were around 800 people that ran. So that was not bad. But yeah, it says the chip time and the gun time. Chip time was 30 minutes 56 seconds, which is 9 minutes and 59-second mile. It is just under a 10-minute mile, but it is still under a 10-minute mile. So I was very, very happy. But anyways, so there you have it.